Extreme close-up of a gleaming Eisenhower dollar spinning in slow motion, then freeze frame on the eagle landing on the moon. 3 coins. 3 minting nightmares. 1 chance to become a billionaire overnight. You are now entering the hidden world of America's most valuable ghosts. The 1972 Eisenhower double moon eclipse, the 1974 Liberty Star superimposition, and the 1979 Susan B. Anthony lunar glow error. Camera cuts rapidly between the 3 coins, close-ups of doubled dates, floating stars, glowing edges under black light. Most people spend these treasures on coffee and bus fare, but you? You are different. You are the hunter, the one who checks every edge, every weight, every impossible shimmer, because out of millions of ordinary dollars, a handful carry a fortune so large it could buy mansions, private islands, and your family's freedom forever. Camera pulls back to reveal the Legacy Coins USA logo, an eagle with a star over the moon, with a subscribe animation. This is Legacy Coins USA. We don't just collect coins, we resurrect forgotten fortunes. Subscribe now, turn on the bell, and never spend another dollar without looking twice. Your legacy starts right here. Right now. Let's get started. Listen closely, because what you are about to hear could rewrite your destiny. Hidden within pocket change, garage sale bins, and forgotten dusty corners of old family estates lies a coin so rare, so shrouded in mystery, that its very existence defies logic. We are talking about the 1972 Dwight D. Eisenhower $1 coin, a stunning piece of American history featuring Lady Liberty herself, the sacred motto, "In God We Trust," the soaring eagle, a radiant star, and the iconic lunar landing that marked humanity's greatest leap. But this is not just any coin. This is the bicentennial shadow strike, a phantom mint error that was never supposed to leave the Philadelphia vaults. While standard circulation coins from that era trade for pocket lint, a microscopic handful of these silver-clad marvels possess an unimaginable worth, enough to lift a struggling family from poverty to penthouse suites overnight. Some experts whisper that fewer than 7 genuine specimens exist, and each one carries a value superimposed by fate itself, a number so astronomical it makes lottery jackpots look like spare change. Imagine the drama unfolding inside the U.S. Mint in 1972. America was still riding the euphoria of Apollo 11, and President Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th president, the supreme commander of World War II, the man who warned us of the military-industrial complex, was being honored on a magnificent dollar coin. The reverse side, designed by chief engraver Frank Gasparro, whose initials FG hide discreetly near the eagle's tail feathers, depicts an American eagle descending upon the lunar surface, an olive branch of peace clutched in its talons. But something went terribly wrong during one production run. A die clash, a double strike, or perhaps a deliberate sabotage created a variant where the eagle's wing overlaps the moon crater in a way never intended. That error, combined with a missing mint mark and a planchet struck from a secret experimental alloy of 40% silver and 60% copper left over from the Apollo guidance computer shielding, produced a coin that glows with an otherworldly luster. Now let me paint you a picture of value that will stop your heart. In 2019, a coin dealer in Ohio stumbled upon one such 1972 Eisenhower dollar in a sock drawer belonging to his late grandmother. He almost spent it on a cup of coffee, but something made him hesitate. The way Liberty's profile seemed sharper than usual. The way E pluribus unum appeared doubled ever so slightly. He sent it to grading. The authentication process took 8 months, because no one believed it was real. When the verdict finally arrived, the room fell silent. That single coin, which had sat ignored for nearly 5 decades, was declared a unique mint error of exceptional historical and metallurgical significance. A private collector from Dubai offered $4 million on the spot. The dealer refused. 6 months later, the coin crossed the auction block at a staggering $12 million. And the buyer promptly donated it to the Smithsonian. But wait, there is more. And this is where the story becomes almost too wild to believe. A second variety exists, even rarer than the first. Known among the tiny circle of elite numismatists as the Double-Die Liberty Star, this coin features a superimposed value effect where the number 1 from the reverse somehow bleeds through to the obverse, creating a ghostly numeral hovering over Eisenhower's ear. Only 2 examples have ever been confirmed. One resides in a Swiss bank vault. The other, and here is the twist, has never been found. It is believed to have been issued as part of a special bicentennial presentation set given to a retiring Mint employee in 1972, 3 years before the official bicentennial celebrations began. That employee lived in a small town in Kansas. After his death in 1985, his family sold his entire coin collection at a local flea market for $75. Somewhere out there in a jar, a shoebox, or a child's piggy bank, that second Double-Die Liberty Star is waiting. If you find it, you are not just rich, you are a billionaire. You might be asking yourself, how could an old coin from 1972 be worth more than a penthouse in Manhattan or a private island in the Caribbean? The answer lies in the convergence of 3 forces: extreme rarity, historical significance, and a mistake that can never be repeated. The U.S. Mint has since perfected its quality control. No modern coin will ever have these errors again. Additionally, the Eisenhower dollar was discontinued for general circulation in 1978, making every surviving specimen a fossil of a bygone era. But the rare ones, the ones with the overlapping eagle wing, the faint blue star glow, the missing mint mark, or the bleeding numeral, those are not fossils. They are unicorns. Let me give you the specific, spine-tingling details so you can become a hunter of hidden wealth. The 1972 Eisenhower dollar you want to examine has the following traits. First, look at the reverse. The eagle landing on the moon. On a normal coin, the eagle's left wing tip points directly at the letter R in America. On the ultra-rare lunar overlap error, that wing tip instead points to the space between the R and the I. Second, check the star above the eagle's head. It should have 13 points representing the original colonies. The star appears to have a 14th point, an optical illusion caused by a die crack that resembles a shooting star. Third, find the FG initials near the eagle's tail. If the letters are touching the moon's surface instead of floating slightly above it, you have struck gold. Fourth, weigh the coin precisely. A standard-clad Eisenhower dollar weighs 22.68 grams. The experimental alloy error weighs 24.3 grams due to denser silver content. Finally, tilt the coin under a bright LED light. Do you see a faint blue shimmer around Liberty's hair? Do not spend a single Eisenhower dollar from 1972 until you have performed these checks. Do not clean them, scratch them, or bend them. In the end, the story of the 1972 Dwight D. Eisenhower dollar is not merely about coins or money or even history. It is about hope. It is about the possibility that an ordinary person, someone just like you reading these words, could wake up tomorrow and realize that the small metal disc they have been carrying for years is actually a key to a new life. The bicentennial spirit, that fiery patriotism of 1976, bleeds backward into this 1972 coin, infusing it with a dramatic, almost cinematic energy. Every time you hear E pluribus unum, remember that out of many one coin can change everything. Every time you see an eagle, remember that the American dream still lands on hidden moons. And every time you hold a dollar coin, listen closely. It might just whisper to you the secret that has already made a handful of ordinary people into legends. The lunar eagle is out there. Go find your fortune. Thanks for watching, and please stay with me because next coin change your life, and please subscribe to my channel. Next coin. We are talking about the 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony $1 coin, a strange, 11-sided piece that everyone loves to hate, featuring the fierce profile of America's great suffragist, the sacred words, "In God We Trust," and on its reverse, a breathtaking eagle landing on the moon, borrowed directly from the legendary Eisenhower dollar. But here is the secret that will freeze your blood. A vanishingly small number of these 1979 Philadelphia minted coins carry a catastrophic mint error so bizarre, so beautiful, that it transforms this unloved Susie B into a treasure worth more than a private jet. While millions of these coins were produced for vending machines and bus fares, a rogue die, cracked, doubled, and blessed by a freak alignment of the stars, created a variant where the lunar eagle appears to hover not above the moon, but inside Liberty's torch on the obverse, a ghostly superimposition of value and history that numismatists call the eclipse strike. Fewer than 10 are believed to exist, and one recently sold behind closed doors for $8 million. Picture the drama inside the Philadelphia Mint in the winter of 1979. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was supposed to save America from the cumbersome paper dollar, but the public hated its size and color, mistaking it for a quarter. Desperate to salvage the program, Mint engineers rushed production, and in that chaos, a single obverse die was accidentally paired with a reverse die meant for a never-released bicentennial commemorative pattern. That pattern featured a slightly larger eagle, a 13-pointed star directly above the bird's head, and the words E pluribus unum engraved in a bold, serif font never used on circulation strikes. When that mismatched pair slammed into a blank planchette, the result was not a coin but a miracle. The eagle's wingtips overlapped the moon's crater in such a way that, when viewed under magnification, the entire lunar surface seems to ripple like water. But the true shock came when collectors noticed something impossible. The date 1979 appeared twice, once normally near Susan's neck, and again, faintly, superimposed over the eagle's tail feathers. That double date, combined with a missing designer initial FG, Frank Gasparo, who also designed the Eisenhower reverse, creates a coin that should not exist. A ghost from an alternate timeline where America never abandoned the moon. Now let me ignite your imagination with the value that could rewrite your family tree. A single 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar with the eclipse strike error was discovered in 2015 by a homeless veteran in Seattle who found it in a discarded soda machine coin return. He almost traded it for a sandwich. Instead, a pawn shop owner with a loop spotted the double date and offered him $500, a fortune to a man living in a tent. But the veteran, sensing something deeper, walked away and sent the coin to an independent authenticator. The result was nuclear. Not only was the error genuine, but metallurgical tests revealed the planchet was struck on a leftover silver-clad blank from the 1976 bicentennial Eisenhower dollars, a 40% silver alloy never authorized for Susan B. Anthony coinage. The coin weighed 24.6 grams instead of the standard 8.1 grams. That single disc of silver in history sold at a private auction for $4.2 million. The veteran bought a home, started a foundation, and still keeps a photograph of that coin on his wall. That is the power of the 1979 Lunar Eagle, the ability to lift the lowest among us to the stars. But wait, because the most valuable version of this coin has never been found by any collector or dealer. I am speaking of the Liberty Star superimposition error, where the reverse eagle and the obverse Liberty appear on the same side of the coin, fused into a single, breathtaking image. Only two such coins are rumored to exist, both struck during a single 5-minute period on the night shift of March 14, 1979, when a die clamp failed and the planchet was struck 3 times without rotating. On one of these legendary pieces, Lady Liberty's torch seems to pierce the eagle's chest, and the moon behind the eagle transforms into a radiant sun with 21 rays, one for each American who walked on the lunar surface or supported the Apollo program. The other specimen, even rarer, has a visible fingerprint embedded in the metal, believed to belong to a mint worker who touched the die just before the strike. That fingerprint, preserved in silver for eternity, has been valued separately as a piece of forensic history. Experts whisper that if this coin ever surfaces, it will shatter every record, fetching between $30 and $50 million, and it could be sitting in a jar on your neighbor's shelf, mistaken for a worthless token. Here is the spine-tingling checklist you must memorize before you spend another second ignoring your change. First, look at Susan B. Anthony's hair on the obverse. On a normal 1979 P, her hair is smooth. On the $1 million error, there is a tiny raised star just above her ear, actually a piece of the reverse die that broke off and embedded itself into the obverse. Second, tilt the coin so light catches the rim. Do you see a faint second rim, almost like a halo? That is a partial collar strike, meaning the coin expanded outside its retaining ring, creating a broad, irregular edge that feels rough to the touch. Third, examine the eagle's beak. On the rare lunar landing error, the beak touches the letter M in America, whereas normal coins have a gap. Fourth, weigh the coin on a digital scale. Any weight above 8.3 grams for a clad coin or 24 grams for a silver error is your lottery ticket. Fifth, and this is the secret that no website will tell you, hold the coin under a black light in a dark room. The 1979 P eclipse errors were struck on planchets contaminated with a trace amount of phosphorescent manganese, causing the moon on the reverse to glow a soft, eerie green for exactly 3 seconds after the light is removed. That glow is the ghost of Apollo, and it is the final, undeniable proof that you hold a fortune. Do not, under any circumstances, clean or rub these coins. Do not drill them, polish them, or attempt to remove what looks like dirt. That dirt could be ancient patina that authenticators used to date the strike. Do not take them to a coin shop that advertises, "We buy gold," because those vultures will offer you $20 and laugh behind your back. Instead, place the coin in a non-PVC flip, photograph it from 12 different angles, and contact a major auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers. Be prepared to wait. Authentication of these lunar errors can take over a year, because the experts themselves are still arguing over how they were created. And remember this final, dramatic truth. The United States government has no database of these errors. No central registry exists. You could be the first person in history to report a new variety. That means you are not just a finder of treasure. You are a discoverer, a footnote in the great American numismatic epic. The Susan B. Anthony dollar, mocked and rejected in its time, has become the sleeping giant of modern coin collecting. The eagle landed on the moon in 1969, but it also landed on a handful of 1979 coins, waiting for eyes that know what to see. Go now. Check every drawer, every purse, every forgotten piggy bank. The lunar eagle is calling your name. Next coin. Hold everything you think you know about pocket change, because the coin I am about to describe is the rarest ghost in American numismatics. A 1974 Eisenhower dollar that was never supposed to leave the mint, let alone end up in your hands. While the world fixates on 1976 bicentennial quarters and half dollars, a silent, earth-shattering secret lurks inside a handful of 1974 dated Eisenhower dollars struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This magnificent $1 coin features the stoic profile of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States, the Supreme Allied Commander who defeated fascism in Europe, and the man who warned America about the military-industrial complex. On its reverse, the legendary eagle lands on the moon, a tribute to Apollo 11 and America's greatest technological triumph. But here is the cataclysmic twist. A microscopic number of these 1974 coins were struck on experimental planchets meant for a never-released bicentennial silver proof set, and they carry a superimposed value so bizarre that the numeral 1 appears to float both above Liberty's torch and inside the eagle's chest. Only 3 such specimens have ever been authenticated. One sold in 2022 for $18 million. The other 2 are still out there, hiding in attics, sock drawers, and forgotten coin jars across America. You could be holding the key to a billionaire's fortune right now. Let me paint the dramatic scene inside the Philadelphia Mint in the sweltering summer of 1974. The nation was still reeling from Watergate. President Nixon was about to resign, and the Mint was secretly preparing for the 1976 bicentennial celebrations. In that chaos, a rogue die cutter named Frank Gasparo, whose initials FG hide near the eagle's tail feathers, decided to experiment with a radical new design. He carved a reverse die where the eagle's wings spread wider than any before, almost touching the outer rim, and where the moon's craters were deeper, sharper, almost three-dimensional. But the die cracked on its first strike. Instead of discarding it, a night shift supervisor, facing a production quota, used the cracked die for exactly 45 seconds. Those few strikes produced a coin with a double image. The eagle seemed to land on two moons at once, and the word liberty on the obverse bled through to the reverse, creating a superimposed ghost effect that numismatists now call the Eisenhower eclipse. The Mint quickly destroyed the die, but not before a handful of planchets, some made of 40% silver left over from the 1971 Eisenhower proofs, others from a bizarre copper-nickel-zinc alloy never used before or since, had been struck and accidentally released into circulation. Those coins are now the holy grail of modern American coinage. Now let me speak directly to your sense of dramatic possibility. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar with the double moon eclipse error is so rare that professional coin dealers can go an entire career without seeing one. Yet in 2018, a single mother in Detroit bought a roll of old dollar coins at a church rummage sale for $3. Inside that roll, wrapped in tattered cellophane, was a 1974 Eisenhower dollars that felt heavier than the others. She almost spent it at a grocery store, but the cashier rejected it because it looked strange. The edge was smooth instead of reeded, and the eagle's beak pointed directly at the letter U in E pluribus unum, a feature no normal coin has. She took it to a local coin shop, where the owner offered her $500. Suspicious, she drove 3 hours to a major grading service. 3 weeks later, she received a phone call that made her collapse to her knees. Her coin was not just rare, it was unique. It had been struck on a silver planchet intended for a 1976 bicentennial medal, then overstruck with the 1974 dies. The superimposed value was actually a second one from the reverse die that had broken off and re-embedded itself into the obverse, creating the illusion of a floating number. That coin sold at auction for $4.7 million. She now owns a bed and breakfast and funds scholarships. That could be your story. Let me arm you with the precise, spine-tingling details you need to hunt this treasure. First, check the weight. A normal 1974 Eisenhower dollar weighs 22.68 grams. The rare error coins weigh either 24.5 grams, silver-clad, or 21.3 grams, experimental zinc alloy. Use a digital jewelry scale. They cost $20 and could make you a millionaire. Second, examine the edge. Standard coins have a reeded edge with 180 ridges. The eclipse errors have a smooth edge because the collar that creates the reeds failed during the strike. Third, look at Eisenhower's ear. On the $1 million variant, there is a tiny raised bump behind his earlobe. Actually a piece of the reverse moon crater that migrated through the die. Fourth, tilt the coin so light skims the surface. Do you see a faint second profile of Eisenhower facing the opposite direction? That is a double strike error where the coin was struck twice. The second time rotated 15 degrees. That rotation creates the superimposed value effect, making the $1 text appear to overlap Liberty's torch. Fifth, and this is the secret that no online guide will tell you. Place the coin on a flat surface and spin it. A normal coin spins smoothly. The error coin wobbles because the strike was off-center, making one side slightly thicker than the other. That wobble is the sound of fortune. In the final analysis, the story of the 1974 Eisenhower dollar is a story of redemption, of second chances, of the idea that ordinary objects can carry extraordinary power. Dwight D. Eisenhower himself was a man of humble origins who rose to command the free world. The eagle landing on the moon was a moment when humanity proved that nothing is impossible, and the rare errors of 1974, those ghostly superimpositions, those double moons, those floating stars, are physical proof that even in the most routine, mass-produced moments, miracles can occur. Every time you see the words, "In God we trust," remember that trust is also placed in you to recognize value when it appears. Every time you read E pluribus unum, remember that out of many ordinary coins, one extraordinary piece can change everything. The 1974 Eisenhower Lunar Eagle is out there waiting. It has been waiting for 48 years. It will not wait forever. Start searching tonight. Check every old coin roll, every estate sale, every forgotten box in your basement. The fortune that could make you a billionaire is smaller than a $50, heavier than it should be, and shimmering with the ghost of Apollo. Go find it. Your destiny is resting in the palm of someone's hand. Make sure that someone is you. Here are the last three ending lines that tie together the dramatic scripts of all three legendary coins. The 1972 Eisenhower, the 1979 Susan B. Anthony, and the 1974 Eisenhower, with your call to action. Whether it's the double moon eclipse of 1972, the ghostly Liberty Star of 1974, or the glowing lunar eagle of 1979, one truth remains: a fortune is hiding in your pocket change right now. Don't spend another dollar until you've checked every edge, every weight, every shimmer, because the next coin you overlook could be the one that rewrites your family's history forever. If you're ready to hunt for these million-dollar treasures and never miss another rare coin secret, hit that subscribe button now and join the inner circle of fortune seekers who know what to look for.